Hi, Lulian and Anani. I'm going to share my screen. So we talk about the lesson of today. Today, we're going to talk about forms of energy. Okay? That's your lesson 6. Okay. Okay. And for the vocabulary today, we have the word acid. Acid is a chemical compound. Es un compuesto químico, meaning different molecules put together. Then we have the word chamber. Chamber, cámara. It's an enclosed space, a closed space. For example, in an engine, it's like a cylinder, like a tube, okay? Collision means when something crashes strongly, like when cars crash. Flint, pedernal, it's a very strong or hard rock that you use to produce sparks. Friction, it's the resistance caused when two objects wrap together. Like when I do my hands like this is causing friction. And if I do it really fast, my hands are gonna get warm. Ignite, encender, to set on fire, to start burning. Then piston, it's a metal part which moves back and forth, like up and down, in a cylinder or a circular chamber. It's there usually in engine cars, okay? A reactor, like this, it's a device used to control release of energy from atoms, okay? So a reactor has to do with nuclear energy. And then renew, renovado, to be made like new again. Okay, now we're gonna talk about different types of heat energy, okay? Mechanical energy can be transformed into heat energy. For example, like we were talking about in the vocabulary, when you rub your hands together, then you can feel some heat, okay? When objects rub together, they cause friction, and friction causes heat energy, okay? It feels hot, and friction is a common source of heat. Long ago, when people started using fires, they would strike two pieces of rock called flint together. They would strike it like this and produce sparks. The mechanical energy, meaning the movement of the rocks, was striking the rocks, and then friction occurs. Then mechanical energy, moving the rocks, turns into heat energy, sparks. Work is done when sparks fly and start a fire. Machines can change mechanical motion into heat energy. Parts that are sliding or moving against each other cause great friction because they're rubbing against each other, and heat results. Sometimes this heat is useful, but sometimes it's not. So you have to oil or grease the machine to reduce friction and the amount of heat generated. Es como que una máquina se calienta porque sus partes chocan unas con otras. Entonces, a veces eso es bueno porque produce calor, pero a veces no te conviene ese calor. Entonces, tienes que ponerle aceite o engrasar las partes para que no haya tanta fricción y baje el calor generado. Bending, like this is bending or changing the shape of objects can also generate heat, or when there is a collision, a crash, okay? An example is when you hammer a nail, like, and you're banging on a nail, and the nail feels hot after a while. Cuando golpeas un clavo con un martillo y se empieza a sentir caliente. Or even when you bump with someone, or if you drop a pencil on the floor, heat energy is produced because there is a collision, but you don't feel it because it's a really small amount. Okay, here are some pictures what we're talking about. This is a flint causing a spark, and this is your rubbing your hands causes friction. Then chemical reaction, okay? Another source of heat energy comes from chemical reactions. The chemical energy in matter is transformed, it changes in chemical reactions to produce heat energy. When the chemicals in matter start to burn, heat energy is given off. When food is used as the matter, for example, when you eat food, heat energy is given off as the food is burned, like as my body digests it. Or when you mix some chemicals, a reaction occurs that results in heat being given off. Like when you watch some experiment and they're putting weird chemicals and you see heat or an explosion, okay? Matter can burn, but it needs fuel, something that it's able to burn, oxygen, and heat. Some fuels burn easier than others. For example, gasoline. It's a really easy burning fuel. Just a tiny spark can ignite gasoline. Puede prender gasolina. And it produces a great amount of heat energy when it occurs. The food you eat is transformed into heat energy through chemical reactions. It also changes into other types of energy to help you move. and grow and build new tissue like muscles and cells for your body. But the heat energy produced in your body is just the right amount. It keeps your body at a normal temperature, would be like 98.6 Fahrenheit. Your body controls the amount of chemical energy that it can be changed into heat energy moment from moment. So your temperature stays the same. You would die if you would have too much or too little heat energy. When you mix chemicals, heat energy is formed. Sometimes the mixtures heat up, sometimes they cool, but always heat energy is transferred to the places surrounding where you're doing the chemical mixture. Sometimes the chemical reactions is so violent that the mixture explodes, like we were talking about when you watch an experiment and something blows up. Batteries also contain a mixture of chemicals. They not only generate electrical energy, but also heat energy. That's why when you're using a battery, it feels hot. Okay? Then here are some examples of chemical reactions, like what we see. When you're eating, it's a chemical reaction, or when you're burning something with gasoline, okay? Or any fire, it's a chemical reaction. Okay, electricity. The flow of electricity through some materials, conductors, generates heat. Electricity is a source of heat energy, like what we use in ovens, in dryers, toasters, irons. Okay, then nuclear energy. It's a modern source of heat energy. It generates great quantities of heat. Nuclear bombs release so much heat energy that they destroy large areas around them. But right now we're not using nuclear bombs. We're using nuclear reactions. That means splitting an atom in a way, in a special way, or putting atoms together in a special way. And that creates a big amount of energy, okay? And they are controlled in a device called a nuclear reactor. And the release of heat energy is made slow enough that the heat can be used to produce electricity. The cool part about nuclear energy is that it can produce a great amount of energy. The bad part is that it has some waste that it's radioactive too, so you have to be really careful when you're using it because that can make you sick. Okay, work from energy. Work is a result of energy transformation. So work is done when light, mechanical, chemical, electrical, or nuclear energy is transformed into heat energy. And work involves movement or change in water, like what we talked before. How did we know if something was doing work? If it was moving or if it was transformed in shape or size. So when a piece of paper burns, that's work being done. When you're rubbing something that creates heat, that is doing work. Sometimes the work is wasted. Sometimes it is used. For example, okay, when you're burning fuel in a furnace, un horno, estás quemando algo, the heat warms the air. The warm air replaces cold air, causing it to move. Air starts moving in the room, so air has mechanical energy, and heat energy was transformed into mechanical energy. Heat is used in engines to do work. Engine means motor, like the one in the car. Okay, so fuel is burned in an engine to produce heat energy. That burning produces gases that cause a lot of pressure, okay? And those gases move pistons, like what we talk here on our vocabulary. This is a piston here, okay? So you burn a fuel, the fuel causes gases, the gases move the piston, and those pistons move different parts of the engine and set things in motion. So heat energy is changing into mechanical energy, okay? And that can do a lot of work, okay? Work is also done when you change the shape of matter. When someone melts metal with heat, for example, so the metal can be used to form, I don't know, a ring or something they want to form, the metal has heat energy. As it melts, it flows together and it's moving. So now it has mechanical energy because remember that when we're talking about mechanical energy, it's something moving. So now work it's done. And here you have some pictures of metal moving, of the furnace, of paper burning. Okay, girls, that would be it for today.